The Bitcoin bulls and bears are having a power struggle near the 10,000 level. Good evening, my name is Chui. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm gonna give you guys an update for the Bitcoin, gold, silver and stocks. So let's dive right in. First of all, let's start with the Bitcoin daily chart. Let's review what happened for Bitcoin the last month. So Bitcoin have a head and shoulder pattern, and then we have a dump last week. Lots of people were panic selling during this dump. But for the past few days, we saw these downward wicks, which represent the buying pressure from the bulls. This is why the price stopped dropping. And this is a good sign for the bulls. The second thing is about the RSI. You can see that it's starting to bounce off this resistance become support line. As I mentioned before, I hope it would come back to the 20 level, but in the short term, it might not happen. Another thing is the BitMax funding index. This is what I want to see. We can see this is like about 7 negative bars, representing the power is actually with the bulls. One interesting thing is on the 4-hourly. So this is a 4-hourly chart. In my previous video, I talked about a potential head and shoulder pattern. We have a shoulder, have a head, another shoulder, and we also have a neckline, something like this. After I talked about this pattern, the bulls were actually able to push the price above the neckline, but very quickly the price got pressed down to where we started at around 9,800. And then the bears turned into bulls and pushed the price up again. And this is a very common play for the bears. It first let you finish the pattern and then press the price down. And this will trigger a lot of stop losses because a lot of stop losses will be placed right under this neckline. But this move didn't actually invalidate this head and shoulder pattern. To invalidate it, the price have to be lower than this low. So this move is a very common play from the bears to shake out the weak hands. Another reason for this drop is actually pretty simple. Take a look at the BitMax index funding. This bar is actually positive number. Therefore, some of the power are passed to the bears. And this is why the bears take this power and press the price down. And then the power got handed to the bulls again. This is why I was kind of worried when I saw these two big positive bars. I was thinking maybe the bears might take this chance and sink the price and invalidate this inverse head and shoulder pattern. But it didn't happen because this low is still not lower than the head. So in the short term, we still have negative bars representing the bulls still have momentum. However, the power struggle between the bulls and bears are very apparent at this level. You can see that if the price got pushed up a little bit, the bars of the index will become positive. And if the price got sink down just a little bit, the bars will become negative. And this tells me that both the bulls and bears are hesitating to make a stand at this level. So this is actually very good for the bulls in the midterm because the bulls want to keep the price as far away from this dump as possible, and this will accumulate enough momentum for the next leg up. And as long as on the daily chart we have negative bars for the index number, I think the bulls are okay. Now let me give an interesting update for the gold and silver price. Let me start with the silver, because there was a dump the day before, which makes a lower low than this part. To me, this is a bearish pattern, even though we have a long wick down, so the buying pressure might push the silver price up for a couple of days. But when the price got high enough, I think there is a possibility that the bears will sink the price down to this level again, forming a bearish descending triangle pattern, something like this. And like this. So this would be a descending triangle, which is a bearish pattern. The price could go up here and then go down, retest this line. And if the price got breached this support line, the price might drop to this support. To invalidate this bearish pattern, the bulls have to do one thing, that is to push the price up, goes higher than this one. That would be good news for the bulls, because in the midterm we might be able to push the price even higher than this one if this happens. Now let's take a look at the gold price. The gold also have a dump 2 days ago, but didn't make a lower low than this one. So this is good news for the gold price. Right now the bulls are trying to push the price up, and we'll see how strong the bulls are this time. Another good news is that the price right now is above this resistance line. And for the RSI, if I remove this prediction, you can see that the RSI level is actually breaching this resistance line too. So that's both good news for the gold. In the midterm, I think a consolidation for both the RSI and the price around this level would be very good for the bulls. Now let's take a look at the stocks. This is a Nasdaq. As I mentioned before, I don't expect the stock price to plunge as much as in March. What I expect is a midterm consolidation, something like going down and then up, something like this, and forming a new bullish pattern. The reason I believe this might happen is because right now, take a look at the fear and greed index. There are about 30 to 40% of people are afraid the price might plunge just in March. This is why they are not in the market. Therefore, you only have about 50 to 60% of people in the market. If you short the market now, you don't earn a lot of money. So that's the first reason. The second one is that I expect the RSI to form something like this. Go up a little bit and then keep going down and then go up, because we might form a supporting line here and then go down here, retest it, or maybe a second time or third time, and then break it. This will be very good for the price. To me, the worst case scenario is the price plunge from here, something like this. In this case, this would be a very good buying chance for the other 30 to 40% of people. In that case, I will take a look at the Fibonacci retracement. So we come from this part, I mean go up here, and I will look for is the golden ratio 0.618 retracement down to this level, and this will be a very good buying opportunity for the bulls. But in my opinion, the possibility of this scenario happening is pretty low at the moment. Now, let's take a look at some interesting stocks. This is Tesla. As I mentioned before, the RSI bearish divergence on the weekly is pretty severe for these high-tech stocks, especially for Tesla, Apple, Google, also have a little bit, Facebook looks okay because the bearish divergence is not as severe as the other three. But I don't want to get into this bearish divergence movement, so right now I won't buy these several stocks at the moment. One interesting thing I want to mention is the Lux. This is one of the stock I saw that have an interesting pattern right now. It has formed several bullish patterns. The first one is on the daily. Here we have a head, and here we have a shoulder, and here is another shoulder, and here we have a neckline. If the bulls can push the price above the neckline, the target for this pattern is around, let's measure it. The target is at $60. That is a lot of percentage. I think it's around 40 to 50%. So that's an interesting stock to me. One other thing I have to mention is the crude oil. Take a look at the RSI. If you remember what I said in my previous video, if we connect this line, something like this, you can see that we test it once, twice, third time, fourth time, fifth time, and then we break it, and then we go back here. So this right now we are at a pretty oversold condition. And this is one of my favorite trading patterns, as I mentioned before. You're testing this line, you go up above it, and then you break it. During this process, a lot of people will lose hope because of this stop. But here is where the bulls made the movement. So I think there's a chance that the oil price might go up from here. And the RSI could go up something, at least to this line. What will happen after that, and we will see. The question now is for you. What do you think of the Bitcoin price? And what do you think of the gold and silver, stock and oil price? Please comment down below and we can discuss. And if you guys like my content, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe so that I can bring you guys up-to-date information. My name is Chui. This is your friendly trading and investing channel, Blockchain Thunder. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.